So it's not for kids.
Oldies non-stop, shitlist radio now. Tool, the pot.
And it just like comes out just like you know, like, and you're like, oh my God.
It'll be the wheelchairs of the corn guy like,
yeah. On some level, like they definitely can't translate one-to-one, because like at the end of the day, your ears are hearing the same vibrations, but like that's probably how like some Beach Boys songs feel to like our parents.
Oh,
where,
yeah.
Like the radio goes like, now for old ass shit, and it's like, hey, sexy lady, and they're like, damn, that's a huge throwback. They're like, that's old. And then like we're in the back seat just like, yeah, that was 10 years ago.
Can
bro.
you imagine we're like at the retirement home like trying to get through a game of Netrunner, and then they're just like nonstop hits and they play Gangnam Style, and we're just like, oh, I remember this song.
Every single one of us in the retirement home stands up and starts doing like the entire thing.
And there's like one grandkid there that's like, Pops, like, don't do this again. You got so hurt last time. I have to. You wouldn't understand. You weren't there then.
I saw a video that was like, it was like basically what we were just saying, except the old man goes like, YouTube, I need YouTube. I can't eat without my YouTube. And I'm like, God, that's going to be me. Like,
this reminds me, I told a story that I felt was like perfectly nonchalant and just like got like the craziest stares. So I guess I might share this with you too.
Okay.
At my middle school, we had like a boom box in the cafeteria, and they would play music that kids love. They play like Bring Me to Life, you know, Red Hot Chili Peppers and stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things they would do is the cha-cha slide.
Cha-cha slide.
And once in a, you know, some kids would go up if they weren't eating and dance to the cha-cha slide.
Oh yeah.
Up until then, people were like fine with what I was saying, and then I was like, and then they would play the Footloose song, and everybody would get up and do the Footloose dance, and people were like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, you guys didn't learn the Footloose dance at your middle school?
Front step, back step, shuffle clap, chicken wing. Like, yeah. No. Wait. But hold on. Were you joking? Like, you were like, yeah, the Footloose, like... No. That's like way before your time.
Well, I know it's before my time. I'm just saying that was a thing that kids did, like the cha-cha slide. They did the entire Footloose dance. And I thought everybody did that, and they just learned it from other kids at lunch. And everybody was like, yo, your school was weird. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Kenny, but I
already learned. Yeah.
I went to a fucking private school. We didn't do the fucking Footloose song. What?
Yeah.
Everyone at your school just like was like taking notes on Kevin Bacon's routine.
The upperclassmen would teach the younger kids. They would do it, right. And then the young kids would learn it by observation.
Man, who started that? You know, that's what I need to know. You need to track down the kid that like got that going. That's crazy to like.
I had never seen Footloose.
Right.
And then it got to that song, and I was like, oh, I remember doing this in middle school. And Mary was just like, you what? And then she was the first one to learn it. And then she was like, that's not a thing people did. And I was like, please. Pretty much every middle school did that. Maybe yours didn't do it. You know, I felt like I was in the majority, you know, mansplaining to her. And then I like go to my friends. I'm like, y'all did the Footloose dance in middle school, right? And they're just like, what are you talking about?
No, he did not. That's so funny. That's wild. That was a good one. This is some deep lore for me.
Welcome to Shelf Stable, a podcast celebrating board games that have stood the test of time. I'm your host, Kenny Katayama. Dun, dun, ba-dun, bun.
And I'm the other host, Tom Bowers. Today, the feature topic is points and salads, making a point out of your salad. But before we talk about that, we're just going to talk about some stuff we've been playing recently.
Well, before we talk about that, Tom, I'm going to Essen. Remember when Ryan Hartman was like, you shouldn't go to Essen unless you're really sure about it?
Yeah.
Well, I was already a little conflicted because I was like, I would agree, except I do have reasons to go. But I don't think we were announcing that yet because it was still on the fence. But yeah, I am going to Essen. Unfortunately, Tom will not join me, but he will be in my memories and in my suitcase. I will take a picture of him and put it by my bedside table.
That would actually be so good.
The reason I'm going is because I've never been, but it's also because I've been invited to do a Spiel talk. So they do a bunch of these TED Talks. I'm going to be doing one. I'm going to be doing one on media literacy as well as disclosure and editorial policy in board gaming. I'm also going to be doing a bunch of interviews and meets with a bunch of people in the industry. So hopefully you'll get a little bit of that in your ears too. That'll be exciting. And I might even be working a booth, but we'll hear about that if it happens.
Making a lot of work out of it. Dang.
Yeah, I'm making the best of it.
You should take a signed photo of me to give to Reiner Knizia. Could you do that?
He's a funny dude.
He's hilarious.
50% of the interviews I see with him, the interviewee will be like, question, and then Knizia drops like a really witty, really funny response, and the person goes, haha, so anyway, and then like goes on to their next question, and I'm just like, please, let the man cook. Like...
The listeners that like think we glaze Knizia too much are like seething right now. They're like, oh yeah, now he's also is like the world's greatest comedian. Like,
Essen, if you're gonna be there, say hi, let me know so we can connect. All right, I got to play Tapple from 2012. This is designed by NPD Partnership. Haven't heard of that designer. Published by The Op Games. Seriously, though, The Op, credit your designers. Disclaimer, we've had Ray on the show who works for The Op. Tapple is almost toy-like. It's like it looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Disc, but except you don't put it on your arm. It's like a Frisbee with letters all around the sides of it. What you do in Tapple is you're going to get a category like politicians or weapons, and then you have 10 seconds. As soon as you can think of a weapon that starts with a letter that hasn't been clicked down yet, then you click down that letter, shout it out, and push the button to start the next 10 seconds, pass it to the next person. And you just do this until people get eliminated. If I press K for knife, and then Tom presses R for rope, and then someone else wants to press R for revolver, but oh no, the R's already been pressed down. So then they press G for gun, and every letter is being eliminated more and more, and it gets more and more stressful until somebody can't think of anything. It's fun. It's definitely like a filler. It's like a thing you play before things. But like as far as like mass market games go, especially games that are like word adjacent, where you're like thinking of words versus spelling them, I think this is a solid one. I think the thing it has going for it over other games where you have to think of words is that it's super short.
Not sure where I land on it exactly. I mean, I think I kind of take it over Catchphrase, which is like in a very similar space.
Yeah.
In my mind, I think Catchphrase has like a little bit of awkwardness with the literal physicality of it that I think Tapple is better for, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't feel as contentious, shall we say, to like fuck up a Tapple.
Yeah, there's a little less than Catchphrase, but at the same time, it's like also a little bit less yelling when it actually does beep.
Yeah, less oomph and also more chill. So it's like you get both.
Here's what I do have a problem with Tapple with. I don't know if this is like our version or what. When you start pressing a lot of the letters, it kind of gets hard to tell which letters haven't been pressed yet. And maybe that's like a manufacturing issue with our particular version. But it does get to the like past the halfway point where you're like, what letters are still up? Because it's like one big ring of plastic where the letters are, like they just start to naturally bend downwards. And so you've got ones that are completely down and some that are supposed to be up but halfway instead. The other thing, which I didn't have a problem with, but like multiple people said, I don't like the sound that this makes. Either it's too loud or it's stressful or both. But like multiple people were like, I just wish this game wasn't like freaking out the whole time that we were playing. That's fair, you know, it's kind of like Bop It, except Bop It you can do on your own in a room without people, whereas like Tapple, feel like it kind of welcomes a group. And so if your group is with another group, or even if it's just your group and you get the like social awareness of it being a collective effort, I can see that giving people anxiety, even though like I don't personally experience it. These are very minor nitpicks at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, you can't be bringing this to the pub.
Yeah.
It's too loud.
I think it's a solid game. I don't know that it really finds a place in the collection, just because there's a lot of really light party-ish games that I already really like that I'd rather play with this. But that's not a mark against it. I think this is higher than most games where I'm like, I respect it, but I don't want to play again. Like, I do want to play this again, and I think it's really fun. I think it's just like, how many of these do I need kind of thing. Because like I'd much rather bring out like Anomia, or even something like Thinky or like Startups or For Sale. Right? Like those are going to kind of fit into this space. That's
kind of where it's at for me. Like I'm not mad if someone else brings this out of the party. In fact, I'm already overjoyed that this is getting whipped out instead of Cards Against Humanity at this point in life. But you know what? Like when was the last time you actually were like threatened with a Cards Against Humanity session? Like, is it even a thing anymore? Has like the world moved on?
I think the popularity has dropped. Exploding Kittens has contributed to that in a positive way. I do think we're in different crowds. That's part of it.
Yeah, I'm not 23 anymore. That's probably part of it.
Yeah. Well, also, we only hang out with board gamers anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I feel like I get around.
And I just don't
see it show up anymore.
Oh my God. There's nothing worse than going to like a parent thing, like a kid's birthday. Did we already talk about this on the pod? I know we talked about it, but
maybe.
There's nothing worse than going to a kid's birthday party and like you have nothing in common with the other parents.
Oh, it's the yeah.
I don't know why. It's like worse. It's like worse than being at a work gathering. Because at the work gathering, at least you can talk about the work.
Well, yeah.
They're like talking about hockey. Hockey's cool. I don't know all the rules.
Right.
You've been talking about hockey for 40 minutes. I have not been talking about board games for 40 minutes to you. Like, pick up on the cues a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not the socially awkward one. You are.
Yeah, exactly. To them, I'm a perfectly presentable human being. You know, I'm like killing it in the social department. But inside, I'm like, I want to become the Joker is what I'm saying.
Which is what people who are normal tell themselves all the time.
All I'm saying is next time you're going to go to an event that has parents that you don't align with, just bring Tapple. Okay? It'll be the life of the party. You're not going to have that conversation about hockey.
Now you sold me on it. Okay.
It's Tapple from 2012.
I'm tapping. Kenny, I played a game. It's called Scapegoat. That's 2 words from 2020. It's another game that has anthropomorphic animal art. This is designed by John Perry, published by Indie Boards and Cards. Scapegoat is a social deduction game, kind of in the vein of Avalon. Werewolf probably is the most familiar one people are familiar with. These days, Blood on the Clock Tower gets around quite a bit, doesn't it? However, in Scapegoat, the clever thing about this one is that kind of like Chameleon, or kind of like those other games where one person is the outsider and everyone else is in on it. In this game, everyone has information that tells them who the outsider is, but only one person is given incorrect information. And they do this with this like really clever like algorithmic thing. It has this clever thing where you roll 2 dice and it figures out,
yeah, it's cool,
you know, somebody who's screwed over. And so it creates this paranoia. Although if you're me, you just play it full frontal, like suspecting nothing and just assuming that when you play this at 4 players, you have a 75% chance of not being the scapegoat.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're just like, well, obviously it's not me, you know? And so it just preys on like that trust that you have in the odds, which is really clever. And then, of course, the thing that keeps it from being like too easy is that basically at any given time, if someone suspects themselves of being the odd one out and everyone else is colluding against them, if they're like, oh, fuck, it's me, isn't it? They can like basically press the panic button and end the game early and be like, it's me, isn't it? And go to the cops because you're performing a heist thematically.
Not only does that put the good people on their toes to not be too obvious, but also, as I unfortunately learned, getting played like a fool, it can be used to make a good person start to get paranoid and basically throw the game.
Right. And that's what's like kind of genius about it, is that there's a lot of agency that is still being delivered to the odd one out that other games with an odd one out struggle with. For example, I mentioned Chameleon at the start, or you've probably seen this, people playing this online. I know Smosh does it, for example. It's just like everyone's in on something, and so they have to give one-word clues or whatever. If you're the one that is the spy or whatever in Spyfall, or the chameleon in Chameleon, and you go first, right? It's such a crapshoot, which is fine because it's like you can just shuffle up and start a new round in those situations. But I feel like what I like about Scapegoat in comparison to those is just how much control the scapegoat themselves has over what can happen if they suspect themselves.
Yeah, I like that aspect of
Very
it.
clever design. I've only played it the one time, though, so that there is a caveat there. I wonder if repeat plays start to tire out.
So Very Wrong About Games has touted that this is one where it really allows people who typically feel a lot of anxiety playing hidden role games can like still play with the folks who are like perfectly comfortable playing it, because there's a lot of just action-based systems in it. It's not just you like lying or defending your case. I can see that. I need to play it more to really understand whether or not that had, like, to me, there was still a lot of like table talk.
Really?
Yeah. And it definitely worked for the people who were leveraging it correctly. Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% convinced of that, but maybe it was the particular group I was with. I don't know. But there was definitely a lot of banter and a lot of like, oh, I'm going to trick you. Oh, I got tricked.
Our session, I feel like we played not really in silence, but no one was like meta gaming. I don't know, like wordplay or anything like that. Or if they were, I wasn't paying attention. So just the game actions can tell you a lot about what's going on. So that is definitely, at least in my experience, that was true.
Yeah.
I like that. That's Scapegoat 2020.
John Perry, excellent designer. It takes a lot to make a stew, Tom. We're going to talk about Too Many Bones from 2017.
Too Many Bones.
Designed by Josh J. Carlson and Adam Carlson. Do you think they're related? It's probably just a crazy coincidence.
Hard to say.
Published by Chip Theory Games. Chip Theory Games, obviously known for destroying the environment. That's their big claim to fame in the board games industry. But in addition to that, I would say Too Many Bones is probably their most successful and well-regarded game. So I was very curious about this one. I have played a few Chip Theory games, but I had never gone to Too Many Bones, so I was excited to try this out. We played at 2 players. My biggest fear was the pacing. I thought it was going to be like, oh boy, it's going to be a 2-hour teach and then we're going to be here all day. It was long, but it wasn't like, it didn't feel long and it wasn't that long. It was probably like 3 hours maybe with the teach or something. So perfectly reasonable. I can see why people like this game a lot. I very much enjoyed my session of it. I played as Boomer. So all I did was yell at Cloud the whole time. Just kidding. I was building grenades and exploding the grenades. The big thing with this game is that every character has like a completely different system. At its core, the output of that system is still going to be like characters running around doing combat on a little battle map. It almost feels like a Mega Man Battle Network, if anybody's ever played that video game. You have kind of just a grid that represents the enemies that you're fighting in your encounter, and then you move around and fight them. Yeah, but when it comes to the actual, like, how you produce the movement and the actions and the damage and combat, every character works completely differently. It's not like Root where, like, you know, we're subverting the systems per character. I would say it's more just like each character has their own mini game or system upon which they leverage. It's kind of like more complex versions of classes in various RPGs or something. For example, Boomer, she can scavenge different parts to bombs. And, you know, there's different ways to modify those rolls and to make them more effective. When she gets one of each of the 3 parts she collects, she can build a bomb. And then she can unlock different types of bombs that then expend the bomb builds that she's created.
A lot of bombs in this game, huh? Don't take this one with you on an airplane.
I played this with Austin, and he was playing the barbarian character that has a rage counter that builds up every time he takes damage. So it was a lot about like building up this tanking and retaliation abilities while taking as little damage as possible, but still taking damage. So like one piece of damage at a time so that he could build up this rage and spend it to do these cool things. I really like the system. It's super versatile and interesting. And then the way that you do progression through the game feels very dynamic. Like I could see a lot of different avenues for building this character. It didn't feel like there was just one way to do it. I like this quite a bit. You know, this is a spicy take. I might like this more than Gloomhaven because it fits in the same category. Whoa. What it misses out on is like a larger overarching campaign because you play like individual sessions. But if I'm not mistaken, there are ways to kind of do something similar. Even though I think both benefit from a very crunchy, thinky, manipulate your abilities and, you know, build out your character vibe. I do think Too Many Bones is a little more interesting and it makes me want to go like explore a few more characters.
Interesting. You're saying like the character systems,
they're very creative.
More interesting is it like the world itself?
No.
Like,
it's the character systems. Yeah, it's like how they work and stuff. It's just very clever. Chip theory, I feel like they struck lightning in a bottle with this one and it's all been kind of shit outside of Too Many Bones. I can tell why this one is so well regarded. It's not without its shortcomings.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, this game could really benefit from being printed with a sane publisher because Chip Theory's obsession with neoprene and having everything waterproof, it feels like a straight up detriment in this game and in many others because they've got all these characters and monsters printed on chips. And then because they have zero space to print card abilities, because it's not cards, it's chips, they put these keywords that are hard to see on these tiny chips. And then they have literally like a index of the keyword definitions. Like imagine if you were playing a shuffled up deck of just all cards from all times in Dominion or all the cards in Magic, and you just had like different key terms and there was no italicized text because there's no room for that on the cards. So you've just like, okay, what does this word mean?
Yeah, it's a collector booster draft. Like there's no reminder text anywhere. Yeah,
it's kind of impressive that I didn't feel like the pace got bogged down given how often the person running the game had to look up key terms. And those are parts where I was like rolling my eyes because I'm just like, it could have been a card and we wouldn't be having this issue right now. It is all because they insist on doing this stupid chip system. While the system with the individual neoprene and slotting the dice is cool, those could have been overlays on single neoprene mats. You could have had 4 mats and then you would have been good to go. Gucci, high five. Instead, they printed a different mat for each character. So the person had to bring this giant trove that literally you could kill somebody with. I'm not exaggerating. Like this is like a very easy bludgeoning weapon.
Just a 2-ton trove of game material.
Same thing goes with the dice. These dice could have been more ambiguous, but they have to give them each their own, and they have like the printed sides. It's one thing if it like all looked amazing, but neoprint printing is just gonna look like a mouse pad because that's what it is.
It just looks like a bag of chips.
Yeah, and the dice are kind of generic. They look like the neutral dice from Marvel Dice Masters. Not even like the character ones, like the actual neutral ones. And it's like, why are you going to make unique dice for each character if they're just going to look like the unique dice from Marvel Dice Masters? It's
not even like, it's not like production quality. Like you said, like destroying the environment, right? There's like some things out there where you're like, okay, that's not like the most sustainable way to manufacture something, but you're building it to last and it's going to like become immortalized almost in its quality.
Yeah.
And this is not even really achieving that in your eyes.
No, this is a marketing tactic. I mean, that's what it is. Right. They know that there's people that go, oh, when they see all this, and they don't think about the ramifications of playing with it. I really did enjoy the gameplay of this. I just wish there was a different version of it out. There really were a lot of bones. They weren't kidding about that one.
That part is true.
Yeah.
Kenny, I played a game with you. It's called Ciúb.
Yeah,
and I'm saying it like that because it's spelled like that. CIU with a little diacritical mark over it. From 2014, this is designed by Thomas Lehmann of Race for the Galaxy fame, published by AMIGO.
We love that Thomas Lehmann, huh?
You love old Tom.
Ciúb.
Most of them are pretty good. Ciúb is probably one of his most mid. But I still liked it.
I still liked it too. I thought it was, you know what? It was quaint.
It's Yahtzee for people that want to play Quacks of Quedlinburg.
That is a good summary.
Thank you. I practiced that all week. What do I mean by that, really? The fact is, like, it plays surprisingly quick, and it feels like Quacks to me, at least, where it isn't exactly about building up a super souped out engine. There's no like arc or narrative to what you're doing. You're chucking these dice and you're achieving short-term goals, and then you're sort of low-key resetting. So it's a very like tactics driven game. It's not really like dice building. It's not trading deck building for dice, which is kind of what you would expect going into it. So if you have that expectation, I think you are going to be fairly disappointed. But if you understand that it is going to play more like a game of Yahtzee or something like that, where you're just trying to knock stuff out and then get away with it quick, smash and grab type dice game vibes, you're going to have a pretty decent time because the decision points are interesting. I don't know. This maybe compares to like King of Tokyo a little bit.
I 100% agree with the Quacks comparison. This was like, It was very Quacks-like. It's funny. You probably said, oh, this is like Quacks, but better, like 12 times while we were playing this. But I agree with you. Yeah.
I think the reason I say that is because the probabilities are so much easier to grok. And in Quacks, the probabilities are obfuscated. And for a guy like me, I don't enjoy that as much. I like to think that I have some semblance of control, and that when I take the orange dice that I know has 3 2s on it, that I have a 50% chance of rolling a 2, and I can just like work that out instantly. Whereas when I'm putting like the little tokens in a bag, like you do in Quacks, it's so much harder to realize like what my expected values are, essentially. And I don't like that as much. That's the reason it hits better for me.
I think another reason for me is that at its core, this is a game about mitigating risk by building the correct pool of things, just like Quacks is. But with Quacks, your main decision point most of the time, with the exception of a few abilities, is like, do I keep going or do I stop? And that's it. Whereas like the decision of which dice to keep and which ones to re-roll, and doing that multiple times, is like a much more rewarding and interesting decision, albeit still very random. But like there's something that feels a little bit more cerebral, I guess. It's simultaneously easier to understand the odds and also has more decision points. It's like all the good stuff in my opinion.
Yeah, it's got both going on at once. So really great game. If you're a fan of Quacks of Quedlinburg and you haven't played Ciúb, try it out. Tell us what you think, because we aren't fans of Quacks of Quedlinburg, or I guess nowadays it's just called Quacks. We're biased. I'll admit to that.
Yeah.
I think this is just hitting a lot of the same notes, and it's, at least for me, it's hitting them in ways that I'm more engaged with. Yeah.
I think we might be overglazing this. We're talking about it like we're like frothing at the mouth.
Like as if it's like
again.
really good.
Like finally they solved Quacks. Like I still don't want to play this again.
Yeah. I
feel guilty now.
I feel like I could marginally get away with showing this to like my family, basically. That you could tell them it's like Yahtzee.
I'm just like, I complain about some stuff with Tapple. I complain about some stuff with Too Many Bones, but I would gladly play both of those over Ciúb. I really enjoyed those two games.
Make sure people understand where you are.
Enjoyed those 2 games. Whereas like, I think the reason we're glazing Ciúb so much is in comparison to another game.
Here's where it stands right now, right? Because literally we played this and then you were like, yeah, I don't know. Do you want this? Like, and I was like, sure, I'll take it home with me. And it's on my shelf. And I'm like, that's probably going in the next cycle. But I don't know, like, there's something charming about it still. It has like the same weird, almost like fantasy art as things like Terra Mystica. I know Tom Brewster likes that a lot. I feel the same way.
Well, it's Dennis Lohausen, same artist as Terra Mystica.
Oh, that explains a lot. Yeah. So, I mean, there you go. You know, it's got Terra Mystica art, and it's kind of like Quacks of Quedlinburg. This review is now being catered to exactly one person. So... That's Ciúb, spelled C-I-U-B. You can probably find it that way, but
it's got accents.
I don't know what you call that. Accent on the U.
Yeah.
100 games to play before you die.
Okay, Kenny, it's time to talk about the 100 games that you were required by law to play before you finish listening to this episode. And game number 82.
100, that's too many.
Yeah. Game number 82 on the list of the 100 games to play before you die. That's the idea, right? Bucket list. You got to try them all, collect them all, Pokemon style, is Gloomhaven. Jaws of the Lion from 2020. This is designed by Isaac Childres and published by Cephalofair Games. Kenny, why is this on the list?
Gloomhaven. We were just talking about Gloomhaven in comparison to Too Many Bones. There is a reason that Gloomhaven is such a big name in board gaming as a whole, because it revolutionized gaming when it came out. I mean, for starters, there wasn't really this craze around these campaign-based RPGs in a box. Gloomhaven kind of took that to the next level, right? We had like Descent and things like that, but nothing quite like Gloomhaven existed.
It broke new ground.
It really did break new ground. It also was like an immense success and kind of pushed further the Kickstarter industry. I think this and Scythe are like the reason that Kickstarter is associated with board games now. But those are just kind of like qualifiers for Gloomhaven. I think the reason that Gloomhaven is so fascinating is because, for one thing, it created a really accessible way to have a D&D campaign that was combat and mechanisms focused for people that might not want a DM or might not have a DM. But on top of that, it had like a fascinating card system. Its system continues to like really be crunchy to a lot of people. It's that perfect mix of like thematic, I'm going to run into a dungeon and mess everybody up, and also like, hold off, let me do a bunch of calculus and then I'll figure out the exact right puzzle pattern so we can solve this dungeon. It like meets both needs, right? And you can actually play it both ways or both at the same time. And that's why it resonates with so many people. The cards, to a certain extent, represent your timer for the particular scenario. So there's like a management of how you expend those cards. And the more you push that system, the less time you're going to have with those cards and the less options you're going to have with it. On top of that, you pick 2 cards every turn. That choice is going to determine both your initiative, which card you use for its top value, which is usually an attack, and which card you use for its bottom value, which is a movement. And on top of that, you can push a card further by permanently trashing it, which reduces your timer even more. Yeah, there's just like a lot built into this card system that makes for like okay, I get why Gloomhaven is so well regarded. It's not just that it's this campaign in a box. It also came with like a relatively revolutionary system, in my opinion, for how to do action management. Tom did a lot of streams of Gloomhaven. It reminded us how bad we are at games, on top of like how hard the beginning of Gloomhaven is, especially when the UI is pretty bad when you're playing the digital version.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because after having streamed and played Gloomhaven, the digital version, a fair amount. Number one, I think in the past, we've said something to the effect of people should play Gloomhaven digitally. I don't know if we ever said that like they should do that as their first and only way of experiencing this game.
I might have said it, yeah.
I'll just correct that now. Do not play the digital version of this without having played it over the board first. Play it with friends. Play it with like whoever is in your game group that is like a huge Gloomhaven stan. I'm sure they need a reason to dust it off at this point and bring it back out. Playing it digitally was very painful. There's just a lot of things that feel almost hidden, and it probably has a lot to do with the fact that, you know, over the board, it's going to be out there in front of you, and you can see everything at somewhat of a glance, and you have to cram all that into like the space of someone's desktop monitor. It leads to a lot of feels bad moments where I just can't even tell that something is holding like a poison effect, for example. And that status effect literally changes the math completely for what's going to happen next. And it just can totally fuck up your turn. And the nice thing about the digital version is that you can do stuff over, but even still, like it's tiring, I'd say. Huge pain in the ass. So I will no longer recommend that people play it digitally only. I think try and find a way to play this over the board if you're going to play it at all. Now, Jaws of the Lion has the benefit of being an even more condensed version of Gloomhaven itself, right?
We haven't talked about why Jaws of the Lion is the choice over regular Gloomhaven. It's simply because they are nearly identical system-wise. Jaws of the Lion is a little bit more simplified, but you're not losing anything that's integral to Gloomhaven. In that simplification, you also have a much more streamlined box. It's a lot easier to get through the entire campaign. There's a lot less to take in all at once. It's just less overwhelming, and it very much feels like a prologue to the Gloomhaven game. It's also much smaller in size, like the actual box, and less expensive. Right. So this is why, without a doubt, I always recommend to people, if you're interested in playing Gloomhaven, get Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. Don't just buy Gloomhaven.
And I think that's what they were going for, right? Yeah. They wanted this to be the starter set.
You're almost assuredly not going to get through Jaws of the Lion anyway, and then you're sparing yourself buying the entire Gloomhaven box and feeling guilty. But if you do get through it, then you're like, that's amazing. Then you go and you buy Gloomhaven, you're like, oh my God, this is even cooler, you know? And then you get Frosthaven and you're like, wow.
Yeah, if you take off with this one, there's an entire world after it.
Yeah.
It's a solid pick overall.
Yeah, nice. It's Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion.
All right, enough yapping about board games. It's time to talk about board games in a different way. And I'm talking about the real part of the episode that people tune into. They skip forward, they listen to without waiting for any of the rest. The real meat and potatoes, the main topic of this week's episode. I'm talking about point salad. What does that even mean, Kenny?
I don't know. Thank you to Rich for this topic. This has been on our list for a while, and I'm glad we're finally getting to it. Point salad is kind of a pejorative term that people use for games that have a ton of avenues for scoring, or just very high scoring games as well. Mm-hmm. And like many terms that are used in the board gaming hobby, or just any hobby in general, nobody can come to a clear agreement as to what it means, right? And there's going to be some games that people say are point salad-y, and other people go, what? That's not a point salad game.
Right.
This is not where we try to define point salad and we give you the tried and true definition and which games make it on the list. That's not the point of this. I think this is an exercise in empathy / expanding our horizons, because I would say both you and I, Tom, are not super hot on point salad.
Sure.
But clearly there's values. And I think this is an effort for us to recognize what those values are. Mm-hmm. Or at least for me to recognize what they are. I'm the bigger hater, I would say.
Okay. You know it's point salad when you are playing the game and you achieve something in the game, and then you are awarded points and you move your thing on the track. And as soon as you feel yourself going like, oh, that's also points. Oh, okay. Like you're practically rolling your eyes because you're having to move your points tracker again for like the third time in the one turn before your turn is actually feeling over. That's when you know for sure you're playing point salad.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like when it's done well, it doesn't even get brought up as a point salad-y game. Right. But when it's done badly, that's when it starts to have that kind of connotation, you know, or people start to use that term. I'm starting to fear that the term cozy is taking this on too.
That is, yeah.
Cozy is starting to have this like pejorative tone to it. Also slightly misogynistic tone, I have noticed too.
Yeah.
It's like games that are not targeted towards dudes are like...
yeah, it's cozy.
Yeah, cozy parentheses pejorative,
because there aren't like wizards like blasting each other with fireballs. Like now it's just a cozy, a cozy game. It's like, is it the same shit happening to like Bejeweled and stuff? Like that's not real video games.
Oh yeah,
remember all that?
Yeah. And then there's the whole Gamergate stuff too. I mean, it's all connected.
It's all connected.
I don't know if point salad falls into that category too. I think point salad is more gender neutral, I would say, but there's definitely like a pejorative connotation.
Yeah.
This had me thinking a lot, like, what is it that I don't like about point salad, and am I justified? And then what are the benefits too?
What's the bennies?
I think the reason that I get so hard on point salad sometimes is because it feels like a way to not cut down designs. And you know how much I'm a fan of like minimalism and just the game's having exactly what it needs. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I see it as a crutch to be like, well, I can keep all this stuff and then we just weight the different actions based on how many points they give, and then we can evaluate a person's overall performance at the end. It's kind of like when you like budget for the year. Well, I think I'm going to spend this much in this area, so let's roughly have a weight of this for these actions. It's like
it feels like a design shorthand that just reads as lazy to you, even if it's not really true to what the experience of the design was.
Yeah. It feels like a shorthand, which is funny because I feel no qualms with designers costing things differently. A Magic the Gathering card being costed 3 versus 4 to keep its power level in check. That's a balancing mechanism that I find like perfectly acceptable.
Right.
But when different actions and abilities are costed by giving different amounts of points, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this feels lazy. And I don't know why. I don't know if you have insight.
I feel like it might be the way in which one is like restrictive. It's almost like how we're biased to remember bad things that happened to us more than like the good times, right? So I wonder if it's really just that, like,
restricting people versus just enabling them.
Yeah, like you feel it's almost like a boomerism to be like, hey, they just give points to anyone these days. Everyone's just asking for a handout, like, you know, like.
It is, yeah. It's like the VPs are like the participation trophies, you know.
Oh, so we just give points to anybody who walks up and asks for them, huh? That's the goal. That's the rule now. Sure. Why not? Points for everyone.
When I was playing board games, only the winners got points. You didn't just give a bunch of points and then everybody went home happy with some points.
It wasn't enough to give points to the losers too. Okay? They're taking away what made this country so damn great.
I think another thing, and this is a legitimate concern I have, right?
Okay.
I think that point salad can often be taken to an extent where now it creates an almost neutral state for a game. There's situations where a game is so well designed that every action generates a similar point value just in different ways by the end of the game. And then your scores are like 300, 305, 310. And to some people, they would go like, oh, this game was so close. But then like sometimes I look at that and I'm like, it didn't matter what I did. I was landing around 300. And it just happened to be there was like a slightly bigger efficiency at doing this one thing. And that's why that person inched out a little bit ahead. Whether that's a valid thought on my end or not, I still feel like that's a kind of a concerning aspect of the design where like it's so finely tuned that no matter what you do, you're going to land at 300.
Right.
Then it's like, why are we even playing? You know, it just feels like we're in it for the ride.
You're playing it to get to 301.
But compare that to like you see the avenue to win and then you meet whatever victory condition or you get to the 10th point, right? And 10 is when you win kind of thing. Like that feels like you clearly outplayed others regardless of how close it was.
It's funny you're bringing this up because I was just going to say like Magic the Gathering is a kind of point salad game when you think about it.
Kind of.
Like because it's like every turn, more or less, you're going to chip away at someone's health. And a lot of games have literally inverted this effect where building towards some accumulation of score.
Oh, for sure. I think you can say that to a certain extent.
Right.
I think 20 is small enough too, though.
Oh, okay.
Where like every action you have has an impact and they don't all feel like they're the same impact. Like sometimes there's a big swing and that's when you realize you've won the game, you know? It's kind of like the swing is the big thing I'm looking for, you know?
Oh, okay. So the saladness of it, for you, it's not that like there's a lot of little points every single turn necessarily, but that there's just massive scores at the end of the game.
I think so. It's the massiveness that's a bigger concern for me.
Okay. Because 18XX is a game that could also be regarded as point salad if you stretched your eyeballs.
I disagree because in 18XX, there's very specific ways to generate points, aka money.
Right.
Because that's the other thing about point salad. Like, point salad is also, no matter what you do, you're getting points. It's just how many you're getting.
So it's really just a puzzle of finding out like where the best most points are. And
I think that's where point salad can be really strong. So like maybe let's pivot a little bit into the why and also like where I think we can defend point salad. I think there are games like Castles of Burgundy, for example, where if you see the line, right, there's some kind of input randomness with the board setup and things like that. But if you see the line and others do not only are the scores going to be dramatically different from each other, but also like you are going to be rewarded for seeing that line. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's a bunch of avenues to generate points, but it feels impactful to pick the right one, quote unquote.
Right.
So to go back to your example with 18XX, it's very rare that 18XX is like, oh, I had $5,000, but you had 5,010. That's crazy. Like that never happens in 18XX.
Yeah.
Usually somebody runs away with a game and then Tom complains that there's not enough food and why are we still playing?
Yeah.
I think Castles is a good example where like if somebody picks the right line of play, they can be significantly ahead of another player.
No, totally.
But then there's some modern games, you know, I love Forest Shuffle, but I kind of feel this way about Forest Shuffle. Uh-huh. You can kind of all pick the same thing. And as long as it's not deer, you're going to have similar scores and you're having a great time doing it. But like, it doesn't feel like there's like that line. Like you don't look at the row of cards and be like, I figured it out.
Yeah. What you're saying exactly is like maybe the reason these don't typically hit very hard for us is that like because so much of the reward for the play of the game is these incremental in the moment meaningless accumulation snowflake style of points. You're piling on until you just like have a big bundle of points and you're just like, well, shit, you know, it's hard at least in most games to look back through them and be like, that was the fucking moment that made or broke this line for me. Right. Yeah.
You can't, it's a lot more opaque to see that.
So
I guess
the positive of that, I'd have to imagine, is that for people who do not get really heated up and excited by finding some narrow avenue through which they can dominate their opponents, they're going to be more keen on something that obfuscates that, essentially.
Yes. So to summarize for the listeners at home, the first argument in favor of point salad, which I think both of us legitimately believe, is if it's done well, then A, you don't really feel it, and B, it can create those interesting lines of play, which often feel like the concern with the point salad-ediness to begin with. The second argument, which Tom is positing, is that if you're somebody who actually enjoys the opaqueness and just wants to go off vibes and doesn't want to feel that like critical moment, just wants to have an experience, then I think they're the perfect kind of game for that. I would agree with you, Tom.
It's also possible that, in the best of point salad games, and Castles of Burgundy might be like one of the better examples out there, supposedly, the player who's inexperienced is still going to feel good, potentially, about how their game is going, because they're just like,
I had that one on my list. Yeah,
they're getting through all this stuff, and then you, the experienced Castles of Burgundy player, are going to be like, I dominated, and it was because I saw this line, and blah 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 blah.
Mine was more specific. It was when you're not incrementing scores during the course of the game, then everybody feels like they're in it because everybody feels like they're doing a good job.
Right, but that is at the same time something that can almost work against it, where it's everyone feels coddled, and because there's like no edge, like it's very easy, I think, for a group to end up dismissing a game like collectively because everyone just felt like, well, that was like a nothing burger.
That's where it goes to like player preference though, right? This is where I'm like, I don't think that's legitimately a mark against it as much of just not something that we personally align with. You know, I'm taking a step back and being like, no, this is not objectively a bad thing about the game. This is more like just a thing that doesn't resonate with the two of us. Because like there's plenty of people that wish there was more of that in a game like El Grande, you know?
Yeah, I could see that.
I think I like Concordia, you know, like Concordia, you don't know how well people are doing the whole time. I mean, you can kind of have a vibe for it, but you score everything at the end and you score for like literally everything.
Right.
But like, I never think like, oh, Concordia is point salad-y. Part of the reason is like you score everything at the end So again, there's an obfuscation, and it feels good just to be doing stuff throughout the game. But on top of that, I feel like you can clearly see when people have performed well and what it is that they did to perform well. So it kind of, it meets that first argument of like, when it's done well, then it doesn't feel like point salad.
The issue I think you can sort of run into with when you're scoring like all along the way, as opposed to all at the end for a million different things, is the admin can become a detriment to the flow of the game.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's a good argument in favor of the admin.
Again, like a well-designed game is not really going to allow this to overtake, but I do feel like it happens more often than it should, that people are just, they're playing as something that has a score track, and it's like, did anyone remember remove my piece? And it's such a pain, especially if like it does happen that someone like forgot or overlooked.
Or heaven forbid someone knocks over the scoring markers.
Oh, yeah. And that's always like a risk with score tracks, to be fair. But like when it's just like a ton of like tiny, like small movements, like every single turn, like you're ending your turn and like having to make sure that thing got shoved somewhere. Yeah, it could really end up just working against the game itself.
I agree with that. I don't know that there's a good counter to that. I think that's just a shortcoming of the system. I do have one more defense of point salad here. Mm-hmm. I think that it can create more of a sandboxy environment. I want your take on this. This might be a stretch. I think it enables Johnnies to play with spikes to a certain extent. What I mean by that is that there are people who kind of just want to express themselves and explore systems. And now those people can perform somewhat as well as the person that just wants to find the optimal path.
Right.
They can both play in the same space. I feel like other games, if you don't go with the optimal thing, you're just not having a good time or you're doing badly. This kind of goes hand in hand with this people who just want to have a good experience and don't really want to have that aha moment of figuring out the line of play. I think also if you're just somebody that wants a lot of options and wants to see how those different options play out and affect the game, now you have a system that enables different options firstly, and then also allows you to do like stuff in the game without punishing you for going and exploring those systems. I'm thinking of like Western Legends or a lot of like very open-ended games, even something like Eclipse.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Yeah.
It's interesting that you can like build a tech tree in Eclipse, or you can also just go around and shoot things.
Right.
Like you're not necessarily punished for doing one versus another.
You just have this this variety of pathways that you can journey down. At this point, I feel like we're almost repeating ourselves a little bit too much. It's like that's basically the best case scenario with this type of game.
Yeah.
There's just so many avenues that you can explore that the hardcore enjoyer of the game can get along with the casual newcomer. Both of them are going to have a good time for completely different reasons, but their scores are going to look like 308 versus 300, right? And then they'll both be like, exactly. Sweet, well, we scored a lot of points, didn't we? And the hardcore player is like, yes, we did, didn't we?
Spike player is like, I won. And then the Johnny player is like, but I was close.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So what is this thread that you got?
I have a Board Game Geek thread from 2012 that I came across because I first thing I did was like search point salad list Board Game Geek. This isn't a mechanism that you can just search, of course. So I found this very amusing because it's from 2013. So number one, they put on the list the Castles of Burgundy. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Number two, Eclipse, New Dawn for the Galaxy.
Oh, okay.
Which is really funny.
That's cool.
Because you just brought that up. This next one, I think...
I'm 2 for 2.
Talk about shelf stable, because neither of us have played this, I don't think. Alea Iacta Est. Have you heard of that one?
That's like an old game.
Yep. It's got like a boring Roman dude on the cover type shit. Like it's about fucking Rome.
A game called Alea, published by Alea?
Yeah. Originally Ravensburger and stuff. So anyway.
Oh, well, Alea means die, right? In Latin or something?
I think so.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Next I have Agricola.
Yeah, but see, that's one where it doesn't feel like point salad, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because one, you scored at the end, and two, everything feels so natural to the theme. I'm doing this thing.
I agree with you on that.
Like,
and
I have these avenues to get points.
I think Eclipse is the same way. It's just like everything leads to some small accumulation of points, but the points come in such different ways that you're really not
Yes.
like, it's not like noticing, you're not pushing a marker up a tracker, but it is really point salad when you think about it. It's like every battle you're in, every hex you find, like everything gives you something. And then there's another game in Latin, De Vulgaria Eloquentia.
I've never heard of this game.
Neither have I. So that exists. Seven Wonders is the first contribution that where I'm like, what are you fucking on? Like, I kind of get what you're saying, but like, just because there's like a score sheet doesn't mean it's point salad.
Yeah, I don't agree with this one. And it seems like the comments also are kind of arguing about this.
Right after that is Galaxy Trucker.
I learned that we played Galaxy Trucker wrong, by the way.
Oh, really?
We might have to replay this one.
Okay, so stay tuned for that.
My biggest complaint being that just random shit happens to you when you flip the cards over. Apparently, you are allowed to look at the top 3 cards of the deck, and that takes up some of your time during the real-time part. But then you can like plan accordingly.
Oh, that
completely changes
huge.
the game.
Yeah. Number 9, and this is where this list really cracked me up. Just Stefan Feld himself is just thrown into this list. It's like board game, and then it's like Stefan Feld.
He is point salad.
He is making them. I mean, we've been saying Castles of Burgundy a lot. I think it's like his most epitomal game, but like I've played other Feld designs and all of them are like, want some points? Here you go.
I do like the concept of being able to put different types of things in a geek list.
Yeah.
I understand that that's like intentionally in there to provide flexibility, but it is funny that you can just like put Stefan Feld amongst games.
Right. And you just like get this picture of a dude, you know, it's just like, yeah, okay. They put craps in here at number 14.
The great granddaddy of point salads. I don't know.
It is point salad in a very, very...
Again, this goes into like, what does the term mean territory.
Yeah, for sure.
In conclusion, I think the biggest thing we learned from having this conversation, Tom, is that the term itself refers exclusively to games where it feels lazy or it's not meaningful to have certain decision points, or it feels like things are just a little bloated in the design.
I do think it's easy to whip the term out when you want to use it to sort of put a game down for its score tracking mechanism being in the way.
It's like a classic issue with categorization in hobbies where somebody comes up with a term as a sort of pejorative or identifier for something, and then people start using that term unanimously to judge something before they even play it. It's like there's two meanings at play and people are using them synonymously, but really they're not quite the same. Somebody uses point salad to describe something they dislike in a game. That's different than somebody going, oh, it's another point salad game. I'm not interested.
Right.
The former, I feel like, is valid, and the latter seems like a derivative that's occurred over time that feels misinformed.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And the moral of the story is, don't judge a book by its point salad cover. Go play the game Point Salad. It's shelf stable. Why aren't you playing it?
You know what? It's not bad. I do like point salad. I'm not like clamoring for it, but I've enjoyed a game of point salad.
Yeah. And just to reiterate for people who don't know, there is a game called Point Salad. On that note, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you especially to our Patreon supporters. We love you. Subscribe for free to our Patreon. You can do that at patreon.com/shelfstablecast. to get access to our monthly newsletter. We like to shout people out in YouTube space, something to look forward to. Consider a paid tier to get access to our Discord, unedited episodes, and some bonus content. It helps us make the show the best thing you can be listening to. Thank you to Michael, Tyler, Devon, and Josh, the Boise RainBeaus, for your segue music. And thank you to Bonehouse for letting us use your song, Raw, as our opening theme.
What are your thoughts on this week's topic? Do you agree with kind of where we landed in terms of it being used in two ways? You can reach out directly at shelfstablecast@gmail.com. And if you're loving the cast, share with a friend, write a review, hit a thumbs button, eat a salad.
Score a point.
Tom, next week we have a special guest.
Special guest.
So stay tuned, folks.
We'll see you then.
Bye.